Hello, you're watching the English News Bulletin on QPVN channel. I'm Cho Nguyen, and now let me keep you up to date with the headlines. Ministry of National Defense leader inspects restoration of Chinese volunteer soldier cemetery. The Vietnam People's Navy completes multilateral naval exercise KOMODO 2025. Spring festivals guide people to find root values. On March the 2nd in Hanoi, Prime Minister Phạm Minh Chính received Professor Dr. Zhu Yong, Secretary of the Tsinghua University's Party Committee and academician of the Chinese Academy of Sciences. Highlighting Vietnam's policies and guidelines for education and training development, with the view that education is put on top national policy, Prime Minister Phạm Minh Chính suggested that in the coming time, Tsinghua University should continue to further strengthen exchanges and cooperation with training institutions and research agencies of Vietnam, and provide more scholarships and study and research opportunities for lecturers, students, scientists, and experts of Vietnam to come to Tsinghua University for academic purposes. For his part, Professor Dr. Zhu Yong highly values and thoroughly understands Prime Minister Phạm Minh Chính important directions about enhancement of ties between the Tsinghua University and Vietnamese agencies, universities, and research institutes, thus helping further enrich and deepen the comprehensive strategic cooperative partnership, as was the China-Vietnam community with a shared future that carries strategic significance. On the morning of the same day in Hanoi, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Ministry of Education and Training, and Vietnam National University Hanoi, in coordination with Tsinghua University of China, organized a ceremony to present the title of Honorary Professor of Tsinghua University to Prime Minister Phạm Minh Chính for the important contributions of the party, the government of Vietnam, and the Prime Minister himself to the remarkable development of the Vietnam's economy and the relations between Vietnam and China over the past time. The Secretary of the Tsinghua University Party Committee and academician of the Chinese Academy of Sciences lauded Prime Minister Phạm Minh Chính as an internationally influential leader who has contributed significantly to the remarkable social-economic development and living standard improvement in Vietnam, as was the building of the Vietnam-China community of shared future. That is why the Tsinghua University decided to present this title to Prime Minister Phạm Minh Chính. Showing his gratitude to the party and state for always supporting him in the process of serving the fatherland and people, Prime Minister Phạm Minh Chính affirmed that the government of Vietnam is always ready to work closely with the government of China to strongly and sustainably develop the comprehensive strategic cooperative partnership and the Vietnam-China community of shared future, following the 6 more orientation agreed by the senior leaders of the two countries, contributing to the interest of people of each country as well as the regional peace and stability. During a working trip to Lạng Sơn province on March the 2nd, a working mission of the Ministry of National Defense led by Senior Lieutenant General Hoàng Xuân Chiến, Deputy Defense Minister, inspected restoration and embellishment of Chinese volunteer soldiers cemetery who contributed to the Vietnamese Revolution in Lạng Sơn City. Colonel Qiang Bo, Chinese Defense Attaché to Vietnam, joined the delegation. Implementing the direction of the Ministry of National Defense, the Đông Bắc Corporation is tasked with the restoration and embellishment of 3 cemeteries of Chinese soldiers and advisors who have contributed to the Vietnamese Revolution. The cemeteries are now in My Sơn Commune, Hữu Lũng District, in Chi Lăng Ward, Lạng Sơn City, Lạng Sơn Province, and in Ba Sao Town, Kim Bằng District, Hà Nam Province. While inspecting the Chinese Martyrs Cemetery in Chi Lăng Ward, Lạng Sơn City, Senior Lieutenant General Hoàng Xuân Chiến emphasized that the restoration and embellishment of cemeteries of Chinese soldiers and advisors have helped show the traditions of Vietnamese people. He asked functional agencies of the Ministry of National Defense to coordinate with the Chinese counterpart to carefully prepare in all aspects and stay ready to welcome relatives of the Chinese martyrs to visit in a proper manner. One of the most important contents of the recent multilateral naval exercise KOMODO 2025 was the live fire exercise at sea. At Benua Arbor, Bali Island, Indonesia, Ship 09 of Brigade 171 Naval Region 2, representing the Vietnam People's Navy, participated in the exercise with 25 other warships, 11 aircraft, and 9 helicopters from 15 countries. Ship 09 participated in the 25.1 tactical group, commanded by the Indonesian Navy ship Rajaman Wedioningrat 992. The exercise included aerial photography formation, search and rescue, and salute at sea. At 6 a.m. on the day of the exercise, Ship 09 weighed anchor and maneuvered in order in the tactical group formation. This exercise is a chance for officers and soldiers to enhance their interoperability with naval forces of countries in the region and the world, thereby affirming the position of the Vietnam People's Navy in the international arena. Ships moved in vertical and horizontal formations and in assigned positions and orders at sea, then changed directions to move to the aerial photography area. At the end of the aerial photo session, ships in the tactical group separated and moved to the designated exercise area to carry out the search and rescue exercise. The main content of this activity is to search, rescue, and perform first aid for victims who have fallen into the sea. After successfully bringing victims onto the ship and performing first aid, Ship 09 quickly reported to the command ship. After completing the search and rescue activity, the ships formed a vertical formation and maneuvered to the location to perform the sea salute to wrap up the exercise. Wrapping up the exercise at sea, Ship 09 and the Vietnamese delegation completed the 2025 multilateral naval exercise KOMODO with the highest efforts, showcasing the responsibility of Vietnam and beautifying the image and quality of Uncle Ho's soldiers, Navy soldiers, in the eyes of international friends. On March the 3rd, the whole military held opening ceremonies of the new training season in 2025 and launched the Lightning Speed and Determined to Win emulation movement. This year, agencies and units in the whole military continue to closely combine military training, political education with combat training, discipline building, and troop management, building a comprehensively strong and exemplary agencies and units. At the same time, thoroughly grasping and strictly implementing Resolution 1659 of the Central Military Commission on improving the training quality in the 2023-2030 period and the following years. The Command on Military Defense Task Force 2025 of the Chief of the General Staff, as well as instructions of the Ministry of National Defense functional agencies on training. Preparations for the training work must be carried out comprehensively with focus on renovating training materials, models, and tools, prioritizing the training of new types of technical equipment, improving the quality of party and political work in training, combat readiness, and exercises. 50 years ago, the great victory in the 1975 spring marked national reunification and the overall victory over the American imperialist. In addition, this victory, with the highlight of Ho Chi Minh campaign, was a leap of the Vietnamese military art at the operational level, in which the art of creating strength in force and in battle area of typical unique features. In the context of the U.S. being forced to withdraw from Vietnam when entering the Ho Chi Minh campaign for the first time in the history of the Vietnamese Revolutionary War, we had created an overwhelming advantage over the enemy in terms of forces. Building Iron Fist for strategic attacks in the 1975 spring was deployed early by the Central Military Commission and the General Command. After the strategically significant victories in the Central Highlands and Hue, Da Nang, with the high sense of determination, we had mobilized a strong force with most of the core units from the north and the central regions to the campaign area, and successfully organizing many lightning speed and long-distance troop movements. As of April the 25th, 1975, we had mobilized more than 270,000 troops with 15 divisions, 14 infantry regiments, and established 4 Army Corps and Unit 232, a number of regiments and brigades. in the Ho Chi Minh campaign, along with creating an overwhelming advantage over the enemy in terms of force, we also prepared a formidable battle array. This was also a particularly important factor for the campaign to achieve a resounding victory. We formed 5 directions of offensive and advanced straight towards the inner city. That combat tactics was new but effective. In other words, each direction was tasked with a specific mission, which was a breakthrough in the military arts different from other campaigns. From that force and array, the strength of the whole nation converged into 5 directions of offensive and advancing straight towards Saigon. Thus, it became a historical place, while the Independence Palace was the rendezvous of the liberation troops. And after 50 years, the Ho Chi Minh campaign has been and will always convey invaluable military lessons. Coming up next, March in Border Areas program launched. Spring Festival guides people to find root values. The Central Committee of the Ho Chi Minh Communist Youth Union and the Vietnam Youth Federation Central Committee have coordinated with the Vietnam Bodyguard Command and the Army Youth Advisory Board to organize the central-level March in Border Areas program themed I Love My Fatherland at My Quy Tây Bodyguard Station in Đức Huệ District, Long An Province. The program focuses on implementing 3 key groups of content, including activities to boost dissemination and education, activities of gratitude, exchange, twinning and visits, and social security activities. Within the framework of the program, the organizing board coordinated with sponsors to present many meaningful gifts to border guards, people and children in the border district of Đức Huệ District, Long An Province. Those activities are aimed at educating youngsters and youth union members on their role and responsibility while helping support those in need, among others. Ninh Bình, a land that attracts many domestic and foreign tourists not only because of the beauty of many famous landscapes, but also because of the festivals imbued with traditional cultural and historical values. It is also an opportunity for those who are far from home to return to their roots, nurture good values, preserve traditional beauty, and arouse love for their homeland and country, and promote the spirit of solidarity. For many people, traditional festival is an opportunity for descendants to return to their roots and appreciate the traditional cultural values of the nation. Therefore, many families and descendants living far away always take the time to attend festival. In many localities, the work of preserving and promoting the value of cultural and historical heritage associated with festivals has been well implemented. The festival was organized solemnly, inviting both local people and those living far away to participate and enjoy. There are 248 festivals in Ninh Bình, including 247 traditional ones and 1 cultural ones. 4 festivals have been recognized as national intangible cultural heritages, namely Hoa Lưu Festival, Bình Hải Village Festival, Bảo Bản Festival, and Saint Nguyễn Temple Festival. Some early spring festivals in Ninh Bình have become well known, attracting a large number of people at home and abroad. Taking part in our cultural festivals, tourists can immerse themselves in the festive and sacred atmosphere, thereby learning more about Hoa Lưu and Ninh Bình people, a land of hospitality. Cultural activities as well as festivals in Ninh Bình have contributed to enriching the spiritual and cultural life of the people, building a healthy, civilized cultural lifestyle, and creating an advanced culture imbued with the national cultural identity. To ensure safety and harmony of the Spring Festival in particular and other festivals in 2025 in general, the local authorities have bettered management and organizations of festivals. In the coming time, Ninh Bình Department of Culture and Sports will coordinate with relevant agencies and local authorities in managing and guiding the organization of festivals while promoting inspection to ensure that all festivals are organized as regulated. And that's all for now. Remember, you can always watch news again at qpvn.vn. Now, thank you for watching and hope to see you next time.